What's up, everybody? Hope everyone had a great 4th of July weekend. We are back on Tuesday with a short episode. I just wanted to touch base on a couple things that I haven't looked at yet and spoken about. The first and foremost, which I haven't mentioned, has been that the Knicks signed Mike Brown. So he is a head coach again. His last stint was with Sacramento, where I don't really think he did a bad job. I mean, he revived that franchise. They became the Beam team and had all that success, made the playoffs, took the Warriors to 7. It really looked like they were off to, going to be a promising team for years ahead. But obviously this last year, they trade De'Aaron Fox. The team kind of is underachieving. So they end up, before that trade with De'Aaron Fox, they ended up firing Mike Brown. And Mike Brown has had a pretty solid coaching record. I don't think he's a bad coach, but I will say this. Everyone's kind of forgot that the Knicks fired Tom Thibedaeu 2 games away from the NBA Finals. Like, that in itself was crazy. Like, there needs to be more emphasis on that. I get it that weeks have passed and that's old news. And I get it, Mike Brown's a fine head coach if you're upgrading to Mike Brown. But if this is a lateral move, I don't think people are talking enough about how it could kind of make for an awkward situation in New York. Mostly because, I mean, for starters, it's crazy that they didn't have a plan. If you're going to fire Tom Thibedaeu, you better have the next guy already lined up and agreed to, and you pretty much kind of know who it is. But they did a coaching search, and their top assistant coach is Rick Brunson. So Jalen Brunson's dad is the top assistant coach. Human nature would tell you that if Tom Thibodeau's gone, hey, Tom Thibedaeu looked right at me, so shouldn't I be the next in line? And mind you, Brunson is, his son, Jalen Brunson, he's the leader of that team. He's the star point guard on the Knicks. So I just think it's a little bit weird that now Rick Brunson, the father, is just going to stay as an assistant coach to a brand new system, a brand new coach in Mike Brown, who's probably going to want to bring in his coaches. I don't know what the deal. Sometimes coaches make deals where, they tell them, hey, but you got to keep all the assistants that we got already on the squad. But even if you are keeping the assistants that you got on the squad, how is Rick going to look at Mike Brown and not think to himself, like, man, that should have been me? So again, I'm just so confused by this Knicks, the management of this whole situation. And I don't think it's going to end well. They are pretty much second favorites to the Cavs to win the Eastern Conference right now. And I get it because they came off a great season, but I think that friction matters. It also goes down from Rick Brunson to his son, who's the stud. He's the star of the team. So how is he going to respect? Now, don't get me wrong. I think Jalen Brunson's a hell of a pro. I think he will respect Mike Brown. But if Rick Brunson and Mike Brown are having issues and Rick Brunson either decides to step away or ultimately gets let go or whatever happens, or even if there's just friction, how is Jalen Brunson not going to let that affect him? Like, I hope he can not let it affect him, but it kind of just seems like an inevitable mess to me. And I thought that was crazy. I thought that was crazy that they fired Tibbs, obviously, and the fact that it took this long to find a coach. And honestly, no matter who the coach was at this point, whoever they brought in, I think there's no way Rick Brunson was going to look at them and be super giddy and happy about it. So just awkward New York, everything. So we'll see how that works out for the Knicks. A couple of things I want to touch base on is people probably will talk about this and make it a bigger deal than it is, because today we learned that Nikola Jokic is not going to sign an extension with the Nuggets this summer, which makes 100% sense. It's the most common sense thing to do, because he can wait till next year, where then he can sign a longer extension. Instead of a 3-year extension, he can sign a 4-year extension and cash in on an extra $90 million. So if people make a big deal out of this, it's not a big deal. Jokic ain't going anywhere. The Nuggets love him. I'm pretty sure he loves the Nuggets. He loves horses and he loves Denver, and that's what he enjoys. And he is also a European. As a half European, I could tell you that I don't think he's in this American culture of, leaving the team for a championship. I think this is why Giannis is having a hard time. I think to his core, he is loyal, and to his core, he wants to remain a Milwaukee Buck. But I think obviously with Giannis, at least the media has kind of, you know, talked up that conversation to the point where they almost are expecting. He hasn't said anything about demanding a trade, by the way, but the media has talked about it so much that it's almost like if Giannis now asks for a trade, no one's going to question his loyalty to the Bucks, which, I mean, years ago, that was a big deal. When Vince Carter wanted out of Toronto, Raptor fans were mad about it. So we've created this culture in the NBA where we kind of expect the guys to not stay loyal to the franchise and chase and ring chase and not be willing to sit through 2 or 3 bad years of team building and to get another chance at it 3 seasons from now. And I think this is why Giannis is having a hard time. Do I think he'll get traded? Ultimately, I think probably, because I think it will work out better for the team's sake. And I think it'll work out better for him as well. But I just don't think that he doesn't feel to me like one that would have requested a trade if this wasn't something that the media was driving, which they very clearly are right now. I think to his core, I think he would want to stay in Milwaukee and want to see this team succeed. But at the same time, if you don't feel guilty about it, then you're more likely to do it. And I think that NBA culture has established that with him. And especially if the Bucks have a bad year coming up. And we'll see. Obviously, they, are better than they could have been by bringing in Miles Turner. And but again, that Dame situation kind of really changed everything for that franchise. We'll see how that goes. We'll see if they make any more trades. But just wanted to touch up on those things. And yeah, Denver Nugget fans, don't worry about it. Jokic will sign that very lucrative extension next year when it makes more sense for him to do it. He's not going anywhere. So at least for the foreseeable future. And I very, very, very highly doubt he'll ever be the one requesting a trade out of a franchise. That's just my thoughts on that.